Hi everyone, it's time for Sundays with Sandy, and today we're going to be doing a mixed media wall hanging sign. This is a 6x12 piece of chipboard that I have covered with paper, and then I'm going to decorate it and then I'll hang it up. And this is what I sell when I do things for the art mob. So, first thing I always do is gather up a lot of different supplies, get my idea in mind, and this time I'm going to be redoing a sign that sold a long time ago, but this time I'm going to be doing it a little differently because each time I do a sign or anything, my skills, my art level, my likes and dislikes all evolve, so things always change and nothing is ever made the same. So this is my background. This is a piece of paper that came from the Beauty of Nature kit. This is a very old piece of paper from Creative Memories. And that's going to be my tablecloth. This little sticker doily came from the Simply Sweet kit. And so did this little trim, which I will add to the base of that. And I'm also going to be using this knotted wood from Prima. Knotted wood. And I'm going to start by just inking the edges just lightly, just to give them a little definition. I'm not really trying to distress or add a lot of inking. Just want to give it a little pop. I'm not going to have to worry about the bottom half of it because that's going to be covered with the lace trim. Okay. I'm going to use this little lace doily sticker. Now, I know that these companies that make stickers are doing a fabulous job, but when I make a sign, I have to make sure that my stickers, if I ever use any, and it's not that often, but I do, really are going to stay there and be there for the time. I mean, you know, test of time. They've got to really last. I can't have things falling off when people spend money to buy a sign. So, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to adhere with my Helmar's 450 quick dry adhesive. We've got this in the store now. This is awesome stuff. It does dry crystal clear, and it's quick drying, so you have to be careful. You can't just let it, you know, sit out while you're messing around. Don't let it, you know, don't take too long. It is acid free, and I love it. A strong bond that lasts a lifetime. It really does work great. And when you get these little bottles in the store, now after you use them, I have a little glob that will dry right there at the top of the tip, and I just pull that off, and then turn my cap. Now, because I've used up a lot of mine, I'm going to let mine sit on its side so some of the glue will get down there while I peel off the back of my sticker. Okay, we're going to set that down there. And smooth that out. And anytime I'm using any type of liquid glue, I do not try to scoop up if any comes out the edges, or if I'm pressing my stickers down, I do not use my fingers, because if I have any ink, dirt, paint, or anything, it's going to come off with the glue and mess up my project. So I take a paper towel and I blot. And if you think you've got glue on anything, all you got to do is take your paper towel to a nice dry spot and go over. Okay? And that'll keep your project nice and smudge free. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to run me a line going across the bottom here. I'm going to get that all the way out to that edge. Smooth it down just a tad bit. And then I'm going to take my lace and I'm just going to lay that right over this edge and let that dry. Like so. And I'm going to let it sit like that until it thoroughly dries, and then I'll come back and cut it off and go to the next step. I have talked about shading before and how important it is. It really does make a difference. And we got 2 of these distress markers in our last kit. And I'm going to be using this one, the Bundled Sage, because it is the lighter of the 2 colors. I'm going to use the brush M. And as you can see from the picture that I just posted, this side has been shaded. Now, this is the direction of my light source, coming straight down to the top. So that means that everything that's underneath that, so that means under, just like that, are the ones that I shade. And you can see there is a big difference between the two. This one has more depth. It pops off the page, where this side looks more flat. So now I'm going to go back through and do this side, and it'll be really nice. So I'm going to turn this a little bit here. So I'm going under. Again, this is the one that's under the light source. This would be in the shadow. Like so. And like so. Okay. Let's go back over just a little bit more. And then this one here, I'm going to do just the bottom part. Just that tip. And hopefully that'll give that a little more depth and make it look like it's, you know, sitting on there, not just flat. Next thing I want to do is add a little bit more dimension along my little trim here for the tablecloth. I'm going to use the paper pen by Viva, and this is in cream. And I just tilt my pen down. You can feel the paint move down to the bottom. Just depress till you get the size circle that you want. Because I'm using a checkerboard, I can use that for my guidelines of how far I want to space them, so it makes it easier. And then once these are all down, I have to kind of walk away and let them dry before moving on, so that I don't smudge them. Although they do dry pretty fast. So this is about 15 minutes ago that I did these. So you don't have to wait too long. And that completes my tablecloth. And when I come back, I think we'll start working where the teacup's going to be, because I'm going to do a teacup. Okay? Back in a few minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on the coffee cup. And if you cannot draw or paint a coffee cup, don't worry about it. You can take a clip art. Now, anytime that I use clip art, though, honestly, I'm not using it exactly like it is, and that way I'm not worrying about infringing on any rights, although I do use all royalty free. But I cut out that handle right there because I want to put my own handle on it. And then you can just cut out your shape, and you can use this to just figure out your shape. Which actually I don't know. I might leave that square like that, although the actual design is to go round, but I think I like that. So this is the paper that I'm going to be using. This is the Lime Twist by My Mind's Eye. Golly. Okay, people, I don't remember who the paper came out of, but I love the other side. It's really hard to use this. But I'm going to trace it on this side. So I'm just going to lay my coffee cup down, my little pattern. Take my pen, sole, and just outline. And I know some of you have cool stamps and things like that that you can use for your coffee cup or a tea cup, whatever you want to do. And I got a few things I want to do with this before I actually glue it down. I'm going to be sponging some of that Prima knotted wood ink around it. I'm going to be adding a handle to it, and I'll be needing my Helmar's 450 quick dry adhesive for that handle. And I'm also going to be working on the steam behind it. So all this needs to be done before I even put my cup down there, but I need the cup itself so that I have an idea of where things are going to go. So while I go look for a handle and all that, of course I could ink this real quick. Anyway, then I'm going to go look for a handle and I'll be back. I found this little chipboard piece that came in the Beauty of Nature kit, and I think that would make a darling little handle. Going to use this stamp by Deep Red Stamps, which is the Heart Flourish Splash. And I'm going to stamp that up above where the teacup is. So now I'm going to start lining up things in where I want them placed. And I'm going to take my pencil. I've got my coffee cup basically where I think I want it, in the middle of the little doily. And I'm just going to draw a light line so that I know that's where the top of my coffee cup is, and set that to the side. And stamp this up. I'm going to use the same ink color that I've been using. I'm a horrible stamper. Just warning you ahead of time. So a lot of times when I stamp, I have to figure out things to make it look better. So we'll see how it works. So I'm going to stamp that right above that teacup line. And pray that it comes out good. Yay, came out great. Fantastic, love it. So that's going to be the steam that's going to be rising out of my mug. And let's see, I'm going to take this walnut stain and that brush. I want to give that teacup just a little bit of dimension there. So I'm going to just bring those edges in like so. Okay. And I'm also going to use my Distress spritzer here. So I'm going to put that walnut stain in there, making sure that the hole where the air comes out crosses over the tip of the brush. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to spritz some little steamy mist coming out of it. See how that looks. Oh yeah. Maybe you can do just a little bit lightly. This is what I like about this thing, is you can do that little bit and lightly and put it just where you want it to be. Oh, perfect. Okay. So, to take that out, just loosen that little screw up, slide your brush out, put your cap back on securely, and how do we do that? We click it. Make sure that it's nice and tight. Okay, so I have that. I'll put my handle on, and since I'm using browns and pinks, that seems to be the little bit of splash of this teal. I think it's teal or turquoise. Not sure. But anyway, I'm going to cover my chipboard here in this also. And let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to start laying out my design of how I want some things to be. I'm going to have this bird, and it's going to be hanging the T tag off, and that's going to be there. I want it to look like the bird is dipping his own tea. Okay, and so far that's all I got. So I'm going to start adhering some things down, and I think we're doing pretty good. Oh, I know, I do want to give my teacup just a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to take my scissors closed, and I'm going to run my scissors on the inside of that paper. And what that does is give that just a little bit of a cup, like so. Okay, so to adhere my cup, what I want is the edges to be sealed and down, and I want a little bit of dimension in here. I mean, a little opening. So, I'm going to use a combination of glues because I need this to be really sealed and held down securely. I'm going to take my 450 and I'm going to apply that along my edges, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take my liquid scrap dots. And you can see how much I love this stuff because almost used up. And on the inside of this, I'm just going to apply a bit of that old piece right there. And a good tip about your liquid scrap dots to keep it from hardening up at the end is to always make sure that your glue comes right up to the top and then seal it. And that way it won't harden off. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to hold it by the middle. I'm going to just line it up so that it covers that line just a little bit. So I'll have to work out my pencil mark showing. Make sure I got everything lined up just like I like it. I want to make sure I got that straight. Using my little ruler here. My little right edge just to make sure it's straight. There we go. And I'm going to just press down those edges. And that 450 will hold that nice and secure while the liquid scrap dots cure, because they take a little longer. But then my cup won't ever wrinkle or fold in, which is great. Okay, so while that does that, now I got to figure out where I want to put my bird with his little beak hanging over. I'm going to take this little hexagon with the bee on it that came with the Beauty of Nature kit, and this is an 1/8 hole punch. So I'm just going to punch a hole in that and find me some floss. Now I plan on having this sitting there. I want it to come up. I've took my scissors and I cut his beak in half where the beak would open up normally. And that is so this will look like it's in there. Coming around and going into the tea bag, into the cup. Okay. So I think I'm going to have that there because my hand will be up there, so that'll be good. Okay. Alright, now this is going to be a little bit trickier. No doubt about it. And it's going to take a little bit of drying time too. So I want that to be looped that way. Okay. So, first I'm going to start off with my Helmars. I'm going to use that big glob that just came to the top there. I'm just going to take my fingers and just smush it around. Okay. Now, this is where liquid scrap dots really rise to the occasion. If I tried to use a scrap dot to just hold up the top part of that beak, it would be nigh to impossible to do because it's going to show. It would be hard to cut. There's no doubt about it. But liquid scrap dots, I can place right there, clean it off, and it will give me a little bit of a raised edge. So I'm going the other way. I want his top beak to be just a little raised below the lower beak. So I'm going to take some scrap dots. I'm going to take just a little bit because it's not going to need much. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you see? I just put a little bit on that beak. I'll show you a picture of how it looks when it gets all put together too. Seal my liquid scrap dots up before I go any further. Okay. I want to take my thread here. Make sure I get it going the right direction. And I'm going to set my head down right here on the edge of my thing. I want this to be a little longer, so I'll just pull that through. Whoops, came out. No worries. Set that. Pulling that up too much. I don't know if you know how much fun this is to try to do this on camera. Okay. Let's make sure I get that situated there. That pressed down there. And one of the little tricks that I always use is once I have pushed down or played with it when I'm doing liquid scrap dots, sometimes, especially when using little pieces like this, come back with a small edge. I use a needle and I'm going to lift that up just a little bit just to make sure that it separates and lifts up. Now that's not much of a detail you might think, but it really makes a difference when all it's done. And here's my tea bag, so I'm going to just let all that string be nice and loose like that. I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing, which is taking my 450 in a combination of 450 and liquid scrap dots. Now I know a lot of people are probably saying, well, you know what, I can use a scrap dot, and yeah, you can, but the thing is about pop dots, I meant not scrap dot, but a pop dot, is people look at my signs and they're holding them up sideways, looking at them, so it kind of makes a difference. I don't want them to see a scrap dot. And two, this is another reason why scrap dots really shine. Liquid scrap dots really shine, I should say. Yes, you can do it so the whole thing is even, it's completely popped up, but you can take that now and sink that. So see, now I'm going to have this at an angle. So this is flush with my board, and this is going to be tilted up. Gives it that just little bit of loose edge. I'm going to take this, cut that off. Okay. And for right now, I'm just going to tuck this loosely in there. I'll come back and secure that with some glue. Once everything's dry, I want to make sure nothing's going to move around here. And this one I want to be tighter because this is going to have the tea bag that's actually sunk into the teacup. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a minute. Oh, wait a minute, before I do that, I'm going to apply my handle here. And before I do my handle, I'm going to take my walnut and outline all those side pieces there. Now I'm going to take my glue and just put that right on there. And just attach my little handle there, like so. While everything is still drying down there, I'm going to work in this upper corner. So I'm just emulating what I had done before design-wise. So I want to put this flower and then the rest of my lace, and all my lace will be gone, but put my lace there like so. So 450, that's all I need. It is really the most awesome glue. It holds heavy elements and really light at the same time beautifully. I mean, you just can't get anything better than this. So I'm going to just put it right here. And the reason I'm applying it to the lace and not to the paper first is just because I don't know exactly where it's going to be. So, just being lazy here. I do know this is that end though. So I'm going to just drag that, I think, about there. Will probably work. Yep, that'll work fine. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this other piece. And put it also about the same width apart. Okay, and then I'm going to take a nice big glob. Okay, I just realized there's something I've got to do beforehand. And that's okay if this dries, and I'll just be able to lay it right on top of that. But I've got to come back in here and put my hole for hanging and my string in there before I glue that flower on. So, some more, so that gets down there. There we go. Oh, I closed it. Huh. No wonder I couldn't get it out. Okay. Add me a nice big healthy glob there to hold that flower so nobody can pick at it. Because you have to worry about when you put things in the sale in the store, you have to worry about people playing with them and picking at things, because they will do that. So Helmar's glue has just been the most awesome thing in the world. It just holds everything, keeps all my pieces together. Okay, so now I'm going to let all that dry. Later on I'll come back and add my other hole there that makes my hanger. Okay. And lettering, and what else? Oh, butterflies. I'm going to add some butterflies. So I'm going to pick out some from the sheets here to use, and then we'll be ready for finishing up. Now I have everything basically laid out, waiting for various stages of things to dry. But I am an impatient scrapper or artist or whatever you want to call me. So I want to keep on going, just hope I don't mess anything up. I try to work away from areas that are still drying. I want to put this butterfly here, and then I'm going to put some words and a butterfly trail going across the bottom here. That will fill in this like empty little space that I have down here. The butterfly over here will balance the bird, and the tea bag over there, so that gives this bottom part some balance. And then I'm going to be coming back and working on my writing that goes above the teacup too. So, let's start with the writing first. I know that's where my teacup is going to be. I'm going to use my fine tip on my distress marker. There's some space here to work in. Okay. And I've already written my words in pencil, so I'm just going to go over those words, and then I'm going to let my pen dry thoroughly, come back and erase the pencil line. Okay, and while that dries, I'm going to do my butterfly. The same variations of 450 and liquid scrap dots. So I take the 450 and I'm going to put just a little blob. Oh, let me tell you what I did here on the butterfly too. When I'm going to do a butterfly, it's got the nice little body. I take my fingernail, crease it right around that body, so it gives the body flat and the wings will be up. So I don't need much. Close that up. Take my scrap dots and we'll just put a glob on each wing. Close that up. Can you hear that? That's my pileated woodpecker that's outside. And then I'm going to line him up right where the trail is. Now I like to take it. I want to firmly push that down, not too hard, but I want to make sure that my liquid scrap dot has full adhesion to my board. And then I'm going to come back and gently just lift that up. And I usually check to make sure And everything's good. And you can see, see, it's holding. Look, you can't shake it loose. I mean, it's really good, but it has to take a while to cure and become completely hard. But everything is held down firmly, so I don't have to worry about anything sliding off or blowing off in the breeze. Just going to let that dry. And then I'm going to erase my pencil lines, and then I'm going to work on my lettering up at the top of my piece. Okay? So there we go. We're almost finished. I don't like how this turned out, so I'm going to just add some of this creme brulee cream. This is one of the Magicals from Lindy's Stamp Gang, and I'm just going to see how I like that, or not like it, whatever, but we'll just play and see. So I took my water brush, and I just dipped it straight into the Magicals. And now I'm just going to paint right over it, and I seem to have a color left on my brush, which has actually turned out awesome. Okay, I love it. I'm getting all sorts of different colors here, and I'm loving this effect. I don't know what happened, but I am not worried about it. I love it. It's giving me quite a color variation that I was not expecting, but hey, sometimes the best mistakes, or the best happenings are mistakes. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. I love how that ended up. It was totally accidental, but we'll see how it finishes up with. Okay, so now let's work on some writing. Alright. So I'm going to use my pencil first, sketch in some words, and then just go from there. My sign's all finished. I used a couple of the kits to complete this sign. One was Beauty in Nature, and the other one was Simply Sweet. I love the fact that all the kits can work together. If you'd like to join our subscription program to our kits for this month, you get a visual journal by Strathmore. You get 3 water brushes and the Maya Mist whiteout. If you would like to post your projects that you create over on the Frosted Designs Facebook page, make sure that you put them into the May Challenge album, and you'll be in for a free drawing for some graphics that we have as a prize for this month. And we have 2 prizes this month, so you'll have 2 chances. So anyway, hope you have a lot of fun. Make something this week, be creative, have fun, and see you next Sunday. Bye!